Hi, welcome to Robyn's Roost. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. If you're new to my site, I'm a snowbird, so I live in Minnesota for part of the year and Florida for the cold part of the year. So right now I'm in my Florida home, has kind of a Florida vibe. And today I want to share with you some fun cards that I've created using the Sending Love stamp set. Now, I usually just do one card for most of my videos, but for this stamp set I really wanted to share, just when I saw it I didn't know where to start, right? Because you have these beautiful dies and you have the beautiful stamp set with the mailbox, and you know, in Minnesota I live on a farm, so I have a mailbox. It looks very much like this one, although mine isn't quite as fancy, it just has a metal post. But anyways, that's beside the point. I just couldn't stop with one card because you have the dies that you can use alone and you have the stamps that you can use alone. So I'm going to show you three cards that kind of use different ways of making the mailbox. So let's flip the camera and I'll start showing you what I mean. So let's start with the catalog page. This will show you the stamp set. Since I have all the stamps out, I can't show it to you very well from the actual stamps, but you can see that it's a 12 stamps, and they are red rubber, which are my favorite, my personal favorite, and that's kind of a personal thing. And then you can see the die set. Oh, it doesn't tell us there how many there are, but let's see. So there are 15 dies, and I think I have all of them in here right now. They're kind of a mess, but you can see you have a die that cuts out the big mailbox on the post. You also have a die that cuts out a post and one that will cut out a folding mailbox. So this one you can actually slide envelopes in it. You've got your little flag and some a ribbon to go on the here's a big envelope that you can do. There's a little envelope and the bow for the big envelope. So let's get started. So our first card is going to be using the die that cuts out the big mailbox that you're going to put together, kind of like a little box, right? So it cuts it with score lines. So you can think of it as putting together a box. It's also got a little spot for the flag. So the flag you put in with a brad, and I'm using one of the round and square brads. This one is a round one. So that's going to go right in there. And before I put it together, I want to stamp on my box. So I'm going to flatten it out again so that I can stamp on it. So we're going to stamp the word mail on here. I thought it'd be kind of cool if you could actually stamp some little numbers, you know, like a person's mailbox number. That would be kind of cool. So we're just going to stamp the word mail on there. And then let's get our flag on, because I'm sure that'll be easier to do before we have it glued together. Just going to tuck that in there and open up our little backer things. And then I'm going to take some of the tear and tape and put on this little tab. It's our gluing tab. And then I'm just going to fold it down and close it. So that's how we put our mailbox together. Now I wanted to show you, I've already got my post cut out, but I wanted to quickly show you how I got it to look, you know, multicolored. So it's a piece of crumb cake paper, and then I've taken my die and a blending brush, and I've got my pecan pie ink, and all I did was just rub this over my die, place it on the paper, and run it through. And then the ink will transfer as it cuts, and you'll have a post that looks a little bit more realistic. So I'm starting with just a basic white base. All three of these cards that I'm making today are going to have a basic white base, and they are just you know, a half a sheet of cardstock. So they're 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And I am missing my matte layer for this one. Okay, so I've got a matte of Old Olive that is 4 by 5 1/4, and then this is a piece of the Rain or Shine Designer Series paper. That's out of the big catalog. And I have, this is another die from the Sending Love set, and I've cut it 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, so it's the same width as my paper, and then 3/4 inch tall. And then you layer you place the die right at the top edge, so it's, you know, everything's cutting, but just at the top edge of your paper, and this only cuts the edge. So it's going to be as deep as your paper is, and then, you know, you can cut the edges off, or you can make it longer if you need to too, by cutting it more than once. So that's kind of cool. It gives you some options. Now we're going to put our, let's see, let's get this piece on here right away, because we're not putting any ribbon. Sometimes if you want to wrap ribbon around, you want to do it before you put that layer on, but we're not for this card. So we'll just get that put down. And let me think, this one can go down as well. Sometimes it's easier to glue these layers on first when you have kind of thick things on that are going on top of them. So we'll go ahead and put that on. But of course, if you muck up stamping, you know, you're kind of like, it's down. So we've got our grass that's going to go down here. And let's see. Now my original plan was to stamp a greeting on here. And it is a little love from me to you. Let's get our pecan pie ink out again. Let's see if I can get this lined up without putting my head right in everything. Okay. Oh, and then I also have an envelope to go inside the mailbox. So this is it. It embosses the score lines when you cut it. So it's pretty simple to put together. Now, if you wanted, you could glue this down so that it opens, and you could still put a little greeting in it. But now for this one, it's just going to go in the box, no extra greeting. So I'm not going to worry about not sealing it shut. I'm just going to run some tape across here. But you can see that you could leave that so that it actually would hold a little note, which is kind of cool. And then there's a cool ribbon that you can die cut to put on top of this if you want. But I wanted it to stick in this mailbox so that you can see the envelope folded. So it's going to sit just like that. And let's see if we can kind of, I'm trying to debate, yeah, I think I want my post under here. So let's see. You know what? That liquid glue that I have out here was not cooperating. Let me grab a different one. Let's see if this one will treat me better. So we're going to put him right here. Right there. Our mailbox is going to sit right here. And then I think I'm just going to give this just a touch of glue. You could also leave it so that it would come out. I think we'll just give it just a touch. And then there's also a little bird. There's a stamp and a die to cut him out. Now I've stamped him with the pecan pie ink, and we can just have him sailing over our, let's see, where should we have him? Kind of sailing over our mailbox, and I'm just going to put a drop of ink or glue, I'm sorry, on here, and then set him in it so I don't get the glue all over my fingers. So there's our first card. And for these cards, I haven't designed envelopes or the inside yet, so just the cards for now. I'll set that off to the side. But there's a lot you could do on the inside and on the envelope as well. So here I've got another card, and this one is the same base, same size layer here. I've got Old Olive again, and then instead of a designer series paper, I've taken a piece of basic white, and it's the 3 3/4 by 5. And let's just go ahead and adhere this. Now for this card, we're actually going to do the stamping directly onto our white piece without die cutting our mailbox. So we'll just go ahead and stamp it directly on. And then we're going to color it with Stampin' Blends. So I'm using the naturals, and this is the medium, and I've got both the light and the dark. So I'm just going to go ahead and color in the post with the browns. And you could use you know, any of the brown colors or white or blue, whatever color you want to paint your mailbox post, right? If you're a little bit nervous about your colors bleeding, you could always heat emboss this, and then it gives you a nice edge to work against for coloring. So if you wanted to, you could leave it just like that, or if you want to add some shadows, you can take your darker color, your darker marker, because these come in sets with a light and a dark, and you can add some shadows in. You know, it's up to you how much putzing you want to do with the coloring. And then if you didn't like it, you can always go back with your light color again if you think you want it blended in more, and just go over it so the colors will blend together a little bit more. And it'll also make it darker the more you go over it. So keep that in mind when you go over it, that it's going to get darker. And we'll give the green on the bottom, our grass here. It's going to, part of it's going to be covered. Oh, this is my bad marker. Use this end. So we're just going to add a little green down here. Most of this is going to be covered by our die cuts. So then I've got light gray granite that I'm just going to do the mailbox with. And again, you could you can add all kinds of shading if you want, get kind of carried away, or you could just color it gray. I know some people get a little intimidated by coloring, but you shouldn't. You should just start doing it, and the more you do it, you can start adding shading or not. It's your card. So then we'll just, if you want to give it some shading, you know the inside of the mailbox is going to be darker. And maybe along the edge of the lid. Just kind of imagine where the shadows would sit. Let's see. And then if you go back in with your light, you can blend it a little bit. And then we're going to give the, do our red flag. And this is Dark Poppy Parade. So that's it for coloring our mailbox. And we don't have to die cut it because we're just going to work right from this piece. Now next I've got two of these greenery die cuts, and they have little cutouts in the middle to make it look like they have, you know, some leaves. And we can just put these on like that. And I'm going to have, I also did 3 little envelopes that I stamped and then die cut. These are done in lemon lime, pool party, and bubble bath. So these are going to be falling out of the mailbox. And then I think this is one of the cutest ones because right now, this greeting, I really miss my grandkids when I'm down here. So this is a cool greeting. Great to go with the mailbox. And I buried my black ink pad. Here we go. So we're just going to add this greeting. See if we got room for it here. Right here. Oh, and I mucked it up. I'm not quite sure how I managed that. So when you do that, there are ways to fix it. So here is another piece of white, and we're just going to stamp this again. Okay, so deckled circle dies to the rescue. Put our little blooper cover up right there. We'll add our bushes down here in the bottom. See, I think we're going to need to snip off this little corner. Our little envelopes falling out of the mailbox. And then as a final little let's have some fun with these hearts. So there are two different heart stamps. One has the 4 little hearts that you can color in, and the other one is a solid heart, a little bit bigger. So we're just going to add a little heart to this. Then all we have to do is adhere this to the base. So there's our second card. Now for our third card, we're going to stamp the mailbox again. And we're going to color it the same as the last one. Then when we're done coloring it, we're going to go die cut it. So we have our mailbox all colored. Now I'll pull in the pieces that I've got ready for this card. So we have our standard card base. And then I have a 4 by 5 1/4 piece of the Starry Sky, 3 3/4 by 5-inch piece of Pool Party, and then another piece of the die cut with the grass, and this one again is 3/4 of an inch by 3 3/4, so the same as our other one. Now this one we're going to pop up the mailbox with some dimensionals. Only we're going to put it on top of our green grass layer. So let's put that down first. Let's get our grass down. Oh, I forgot to color the bottom green. Let's see if I can do this without mucking up our grass on the bottom there. Give it a little green here. Okay. Now for this one, there is, see if I can find it. Oh, here we go. There's this cool little Sent with Love with hearts in it. And I'm going to stamp this up here, kind of as if it were a stamp, right? So we're just going to stamp this guy here. And then we've also got like a cancellation mark. I need a piece of scratch paper here. So I'm going to ink it up and then stamp it off just on a piece of my scratch paper, and then stamp it across here. So like a cancellation. And then this one's got to have some envelopes in it too, right? Let's see. So we've got some envelopes here. And we're going to do the same. Well, let's stack them up. I did this on another one. Well, that one's kind of got smoochies. Maybe that's why I did an extra one. So let's just put these in the mailbox. We're getting lots of mail. It's a whole stack of mail. Then I've got another one of these little birds. And a whole bunch of hearts. So I die cut a bunch of these hearts in Bubble Bath and Real Red. I was thinking they could go inside of the envelope, so when someone opened them, they'd have like confetti coming out. But I think we might put a few on the outside too, or on the card. Actually, I'm going to put him up here. We'll kind of cover up where my stamp didn't get stamped right. And again, I kind of like to, for these little things, put the dot of glue actually on the paper and then put the little tiny thing onto the glue. That way I don't have to hold it with get glue on everything. So let's pull all the cards back in. And you can see the different ways that we've used the mailbox on the Sending Love set. So we have stamped directly on the paper and colored, stamped, colored, and then die cut, and then we've used the die that creates the post and the mailbox not stamped. So you can see there's lots of fun ways to use this set. Hope you have fun with it. Stop back again. I may have some other cards using the same set, and I'll maybe finish the inside. If you watch my blog, I'll post these cards and do the inside on my blog. Thanks for stopping by at the Roost, and you have a great day.